Now, children, open page number 61, Amanda, poem Amanda. Now, we're going to do the line wise explanation of the poem Amanda. The first stanza. Don't bite your nails, Amanda. Don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda. Stop the slouching and sit up straight, Amanda. Now, who is giving this instruction? Most probably her mother. These instructions are given by Amanda's mother to her and asking her not to do few things. What are the three instructions she gives not to do? Not to bite the nails, not to hunch her shoulders, means not to bend down, and stop the slouching and sit up straight. Sit up straight in a proper position, Amanda. Now, if you see this first paragraph, in the first stanza, see the first two lines. Don't bite your nails, Amanda. Don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda. The which word is being repeated here in the beginning? The word don't is being repeated in line 1 as well as in line 2. Here the figure of speech is anaphora. What is anaphora? It is a poetic device in which a word or a group of words is used repeatedly at the beginning of a sentence to create special effect or emphasis. Now see the third line. Stop that slouching. Stop the slouching. Which alphabet is being repeated here? The alphabet S is being repeated. So which figure of speech is being used here? Alliteration. Alliteration means occurrence of the same sound at the beginning of closely connected words. So in this stanza, we have got two figure of speeches. First, we have anaphora, and second we have here is alliteration. Now see the second stanza. In second stanza, there is a languid emerald sea where the sole inhabitant is me, a mermaid drifting blissfully. Now in this stanza, second stanza, you can see this. If you see the stanza, this stanza is put in a bracket. Why it is put in bracket? Now this is a special thing a word which is used here is parenthesis. Parenthesis means what? Parenthenthesis. It means Amanda's thoughts are given in bracket. She does not speak, so her thoughts are there. On to mention a thought, explain a thought, it has been put in a bracket. Now there is the languid emerald sea. Languid means calm. Emerald is green sea. Calm green sea where the sole inhabitant is me. Now what do you mean by sole inhabitant? Sole inhabitant means the only person in the green sea is Amanda, and she sees herself, she's all alone, and she assumes herself to be what? As a mermaid drifting blissfully. Now first of all, what is mermaid? An aquatic creature with the head and upper body of a female human and tail of a fish. Drifting means floating. Blissfully means happily. Now in this second stanza, what does Amanda imagine herself as? She imagines herself as a mermaid where she is all alone in a calm sea. Nobody else is there to disturb her, and she is happy in her own world created by herself. Now what we need to understand in the second stanza, we have used parenthesis. We have the word meaning languid, emerald, sole, inhabitant, mermaid, drifting blissfully, which we have already discussed. Now one figure of speech here is metaphor. In second paragraph, she compares herself to a mermaid. So this mermaid metaphor is used here. Now kindly see this third paragraph. Did you finish your homework, Amanda? Did you tidy your room, Amanda? I thought I told you to clean your shoes, Amanda. Now she is happy in her imaginary world where she is thinking herself to be a mermaid. She is happy there, but her mother again pulls her back to her real world and she is questioning her. Did she finish her homework? Did she clean her room? I thought I told you to clean your shoes, Amanda. She is annoyed with the daughter because she had asked her to clean her shoes, which she has not done. Now see the first two lines. Did you finish your homework, Amanda? Did you tidy your room, Amanda? So children, a big figure of speech is used here in line 1 and 2. This is again anaphora used here. Now the mother is asking her, questioning about her, that why she has not done her homework. Has she finished her homework? Has she cleaned her room? And is annoyed with her for not cleaning her shoes. Now come to the next stanza. I am an orphan roaming the street. I pattern soft dust with my hushed bare feet. The silence is golden and freedom is sweet. Now again this is a parenthesis. Now she is considering herself to be as what? to be an orphan. So this orphan, we're using metaphor. Figure of speech used here is metaphor because she is comparing herself to an orphan. And as an orphan, what she would like to do, roaming the street. She would love to roam about in the street. Nobody's checking her. I pattern soft dust with my hushed bare feet. Quiet, hush is quiet. Quietly, she would like to make patterns with the bare feet. She would like to make patterns on the soft dust, which normally a pen would not allow. The silence is golden and freedom is sweet. Now, this silence is golden and freedom is sweet. This here figure of speech, this means this is metaphor here. Figure of speech used here is metaphor. Why the silence is called as golden and freedom? Why she is calling it as freedom? Now, Amanda is fed up with the noisy, dominating command of her mother. She feels suffocated and wants her freedom. She has not got enough freedom, so she craves for calmness and liberty and regards silence to be golden. She does not want anybody to talk to her. She wants perfect silence and she wants freedom for herself. So, in this stanza, we have got two metaphors. First is orphan and second is silence is golden and freedom is sweet. So we have completed stanza 1, stanza 2, stanza 3, stanza 4 and come to the stanza 5 now. Don't eat that chocolate, Amanda. Remember your acne, Amanda. Will you please look at me when I'm speaking to you, Amanda? Now again, the mother is pulling back Amanda to her real world and she's again she's instructing her. What is she instructing this time? She's asking Amanda not to eat chocolates because she knows that chocolates are going to give her aggravate her acne problem which is already having. So she is not supposed to eat lot of chocolates. Will you please look at me when I am speaking to Amanda? Now, when she is talking to Amanda, Amanda is so offended, she is so fed up that she does not look into the eyes of her mother. So she said, what is the mother saying? The mother is asking her daughter, she wants that when she is speaking to her daughter, she should look into her eyes. Now, kindly children, please turn to the next page, page number 62. In page number 62, the first stanza we are going to do here is, I'll just read out the stanza. I am Rapunzel, I have not a care. Life in a tower is tranquil and rare. I'll certainly never let my bright hair. Now, what is she saying here? Now she has assumed herself to be in first time she's assumed herself to be a mermaid. Then she assumes herself to be this thing orphan, and third time she assumes herself to be an Rapunzel. Now, first of all, let us understand who's Rapunzel. Rapunzel is a German fairy tale of a beautiful girl who's imprisoned by a witch in a tower with no doors and a single window. The witch used to climb up and down with the help of Rapunzel's long golden hair that she let down out of the window. After a few obstacles, a prince climbs up her long hair into the tower and rescued the girl and gets married to her. So this is a brief story about the German fairy tale character Rapunzel. Now, what does she imagine? Why does she imagine herself as Rapunzel? She says that she would love to be like Rapunzel. I have not care. Life in a tower is tranquil and calm. She wants to run away from the world of reality and escape and go far away in the tower where there will be perfect calmness, and she does not want anybody disturbing her there. And she always also has decided that she is not going to let her hair down, because if she lets her hair down, somebody will come again and rescue her. So she assumes herself to be as three things. Firstly, mermaid, second, orphan, and third, Rapunzel. Now see the last paragraph. Stop that sulking at once, Amanda. Now, what do you mean by sulking? To be angry and upset about something. So, mother is instructing her not to sulk. Stop that sulking at once, Amanda. You are always so moody, Amanda. Anyone would think that I am nagging at you, Amanda. Now, what is she saying? She's asking her daughter, instructing her daughter, commanding her daughter not to sulk. Why? And she also calls her as moody, that she's very moody, and she says that she does not want anybody to see her in that sulking mood, but otherwise people will think that her mother has been constantly nagging her daughter Amanda. Now, in this last stanza, the first line, stop that sulking, stop and sulking. Again, the figure of speech used here is alliteration. So, we have completed the poem here. Now, we have to understand what is the message. Now this poem is having beautiful message. So now let us see the message one by one. Now let us see the message here, children. First message: children should be allowed to enjoy their freedom. Second, they should be given them some privacy. Third, excessive nagging makes them defiant. Fourth, if a child is constantly being checked, he or she runs from the real world to the world of imagination, which is not right for the child. Elders should also learn to understand child's thought process. Sixth, the poet advises the parent to have healthy and friendly relation with their children. Children, on other hand, should also be respectful and responsible to their parents. Now, children, let's hurriedly revise the figure of speeches in this poem. The first one is anaphora. It is a poetic device in which a word or group of words is used repeatedly at the beginning of sentence to create special effect or emphasis. I have already explained to you earlier. Now let us see. Don't bite your nails, Amanda. Don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda. So in these two lines, the word don't is there in the beginning and it is the same. In both the sentences, don't is being repeated. Second one is, did you finish your homework, Amanda? Did you tidy your room, Amanda? So now here also we find the word did in the beginning of the sentence. So this is anaphora. The second figure of speech which we have used here is alliteration. Alliteration is occurrence of the same sound at the beginning of closely connected words. Stop that slouching and sit up straight. So here we find the alphabet S is being repeated here. Stop slouching, sit straight. Second one is stop that sulking at once, Amanda. Stop and sulking. The alphabet S is being repeated. So this is alliteration. The third figure of speech which we have used here in this poem is metaphor. Poet uses metaphor in para 2, 4, 6 as he compares Amanda to a mermaid, an orphan and Rapunzel respectively. We have silence is golden and freedom is sweet. These two also metaphor are there in this poem. The next one which we have figure of speech is parenthesis. Now in this poem we've seen the bracket which tells about what the child is thinking. Her thoughts are given. She does not speak here. So parenthesis also being used. The last figure of speech which we have used here in this poem is rhyme scheme. As there is no rhyming word, so this is called a free verse. With this, students, we come to an end of this poem. I hope you've understood this poem. Now don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel. Love you all. God bless.